What is up, Walking Dead fans? I'm Tommy from ZD Comics, and welcome to my review of Season 5, Episode 2, Strangers. So, wow, was this episode good? I'm going to start out, giving you my non-spoiler review, and then I'll get into my spoiler review later. So, my non-spoiler review starts now, so in case you haven't seen the episode, you're safe to watch. I'll give you a warning when I get into the spoilers. I get this episode a 7.5 out of 10. Anything over a 5 is good for me, on like my rating scale, so don't think a 7.5 isn't good. Because this episode was very good. I'm really happy they brought back Gabriel. He is a comic book character who we saw. He's still alive in the comics today. Not really big of a spoiler because he's not really big of a character. You know, they might change it in this TV show because they usually change up a lot of things. I mean, for instance, the Governor storyline, they stretched out way too long, personally. So, definitely any character can change in the TV show and then not stick with their original comic book storyline. But anyway, Gabriel is really cool. He's a priest, and what we see in this episode is that he's a huge coward. I really like that. I mean, I don't technically like the idea of him being a coward, but I like that we have never really seen a character be such a pussy. I mean, seriously, like, he was just so scared. Like, there's a point in the fighting scene where they're in like the water area where he's just like, oh my god, I'm gonna faint, and he throws up when the first time we see him, and it's like, it's really good. It was really good. He's a good actor. I like him a lot. I like how he's a priest. You know, it just adds, more diversity and everything to the group. And by the way, this is the largest group we have ever seen. The only character that we did not see in this episode is Beth, because I think Beth's still alive. But seriously, wow. I mean, there's like 13, 16 people now, and they just added another character, Gabriel. So, I mean, it was like, what? It's like so many people, it's hard to recognize everybody's name. But as far as the episode went, it was really good. I mean, one thing I was confused about was, like, where are we headed next? Like, what is the next big story event? Like, where are we going? I know we're going to DC, but obviously there's something else happening. And personally, I thought the Hunter storyline was over. I thought Terminus was, like, their Hunter storyline, so I was kind of like, ugh. They totally bombarded that episode. Like, they just completely ruined the Hunter storyline, and that's not true. The Hunter storyline is literally, like, now. You know, this is the Hunter storyline, like that one volume in the comic book. It's sitting right up there. I can't grab it for you now, but like, that happens right now. That's not a spoiler, but let's just say good things and very personal issues are going to be happening soon. So this next, story event for the next few episodes are going to be more personal and not very big. Like, it's not like a prison episode where, like, when we saw the prison, the final event of the prison was like a bomb. It's like everyone, like, the governor was attacking. It was like an army attacking. That's not what we're really going to be getting in this next few episodes. We're really getting more of a personal storyline, which is going to be awesome. So basically, that ends my non-spoiler review. Not much to say. Come on, this is The Walking Dead. If you're not going to spoiler anything, you can't really tell about anything. So yeah, my non-spoiler review, 7.5 out of 10, but now I'm going to get into the spoilers. Okay, so leave. If you haven't seen the episode, leave, and then come back to this part of my review. Okay, now that they're gone, let's talk about Bob. So Bob and Sasha, they really talked about that a lot in this episode. They kind of really focused on the fact that they're dating, and at the end of the episode, we saw Bob, leaning against a tree, and all of a sudden, boom, he gets knocked out. And he actually gets brought to the camp, little campsite, probably like a mile away from the church, and he actually got his foot cut off, and he was eating it, and the person that was eating it was Gareth. So it was Gareth and a small group of people, probably 4 or 5 people, and they actually were they were part of Terminus. And of course, Terminus exploded. I think that whole thing is gone, and now they end up finding Rick's group, saying, you know what, you fucked with my home, you fucked with, like, my family, I hate you now, but this isn't personal, we gotta survive. We actually de-evolutionized is how they explained it. And a friend of mine brought this up, that Gareth is sort of like the Joker. He kind of like talks like the Joker for a second, and honestly, I thought that. I think his motivation as an actor might be that he has the mindset of the Joker, which is like really what I thought about in this episode. I was like, wow, that's so true. My friend brought that up, and I was like, that makes lots of sense. That dialogue he has at the end of the episode is definitely something the Joker would say. I mean, just watch The Dark Knight, you'll understand what I'm saying. So anyway, the Gareth is sort of like the Joker. He's a good villain. He's really only part of the Hunter storyline. I don't think he's really gonna go anywhere besides this, but it was pretty cool. He took Bob and knocked him out, literally ate his leg. Awesome. Like, he ate his leg. He was like, oh, you taste pretty good. So that was awesome. And we did see a preview for the next episode saying that 3 more people are gonna be missing. So obviously the Hunter storyline was kind of short. it's kind of like, okay, Bob went missing. That's about it. So I think they're going to stretch that out again, sort of like what they did with the prison storyline. So my guess is that this personal issue between Gareth, that small group, and then the church is going to happen in for like probably 6 episodes. So personally, I think that the Hunter storyline will go all the way up to probably the mid-season final, and then we'll get to this DC storyline, which will probably happen during the end of the season 5. So one thing that also happened is that Beth returned, sort of. Basically, we saw that Daryl and Carol were actually fixing up a car that they found just in case they needed it for some reason. And all of a sudden, the car that Beth drove at the end of season 4 just like vroom right by them, and Daryl's like, oh my god, get in the car. So they end up chasing after Beth. So basically the group is sort of mixed up. I mean, everyone is in the church right now besides Carol, Beth, and Daryl. They are somewhere else right now chasing each other. So I don't know really what's going to go on with that, but maybe Morgan will get introduced there. We saw Morgan at the end of the last episode. So my friend also brought this up, that maybe Morgan is with Beth. Possibility. I don't think that's true. I think Morgan's going to appear in the mid-season final, where we're going to get like the end of the Hunter storyline. And I think Morgan's going to either get captured by the Hunters. Don't think that's going to happen, but I think Morgan's going to end up like saving Rick from the Hunters. So that would be pretty cool. Like when we finally do see Morgan, it's like he just saves Rick's life, and Rick's like, holy shit, where the hell did you come from? I thought you were insane. Because we do know that Morgan was like very mentally insane the last time we saw him. It was like season 3. So like now he's kind of like, you know what, back to normal, as at least that's kind of what we saw at the end of last episode. So besides the Beth storyline and the Hunter storyline, personal issues, I mean, Sasha and Bob, they had a cute little relationship going. Bob's probably going to die, be honest. I mean, he could survive and then end up having legless, having to deal with one leg. I mean, I kind of am okay with that, but I don't really like Bob as a character. I think he's a good actor, but as a character, I really don't care if he dies. Plus, then it was Sasha a good reason to, you know, go insane. You know, whenever a loved one dies, it's always intense. You know. So let's see, Rosita and Abraham. Not much on Rosita. Abraham had a good tosh. You know, tosh. I can't even say that right. But yeah, so when they were all eating, because they eventually they raided a food shelter, which was a really cool scene, by the way, where they had like the zombies in like the water. Like usually every season we see new zombies. We saw, I think last season, a fire zombie that was like literally like all burned. We seen that fat zombie in the well. I think that was season 2. And this time we saw this episode, these zombies were kind of like literally like their whole skin was just like lube and stuff. It was just really messed up because like they probably been in that water for a year or so. I mean, it was like up to here, like their chest area. So I mean, my guess is those zombies, like we saw one zombie's face was just like, like if the side of his face was like melted down and everything. So really good looking effects. I mean, the effects get better and better every season because they're just making so much freaking money. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on. I bet you like Carl, who like barely talks in like all the episodes, is probably making like millions of dollars. So yeah, anyway, special effects are really good. And like I was saying, with the food shelter and everything, they ended up bringing like a ton of food back to the church, at least for like another, I would say, 2 weeks. As for everybody, I mean, they had like 2 filled carts. So anyway, they're toasting at the end. Abraham, you know, gave a toast and was talking about Eugene, and basically he just kind of spoiled that, you know, Eugene has a cure and all this bull crap. I don't believe it's true, and that they're going to go to DC and everything's going to end up being okay. So they're really hinting towards that. I mean, like, if you didn't read the comics, and if you do read the comics, you're going to know what's happening next. But I don't want to spoil that for you. That's different. But you know, this is my spoiler review, but I don't want to spoil what happens in the comics and what's going to happen in the future of the TV show. But let's just say Abraham and Eugene, keep very close attention to what's going on with them. The only character I haven't really talked too much was probably Gabriel. You know, Gabriel is the priest, of course. He's an awesome character. Obviously, he's hiding something. We saw that Carl found like something that said, "You will burn for this," written on the side of the church. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, besides that, Gabriel's obviously hiding something. And as far as it goes to this episode, it was pretty good. I mean, we had some good character development, and the only thing I really liked about this episode was probably the ending. I mean, I thought the middle was kind of like slow, besides the part where they raided the food shelter. But I do like where this season's going. I like how they're not, in a prison, and they're not really traveling. They're kind of in a new area right now, and they're getting closer to DC. I just can't wait till they get to DC. It's going to be awesome. So 7.5 is my review for this episode. What is yours? Name it in the comment section down below. Talk about this episode in the comment section down below. I love to respond and hear what you got to say. But anyway, I'm Tommy from ZD Comics, and you have a great day.
Ready, aim, fire.